Hello everyone, my name is Benjamin Crudwig and welcome back to my channel. I am a textile and fashion designer and that's primarily what I do here. Whether it's crochet, knitting, weaving, sewing, or other, I do it here. So, as many of you know, I, not so recently, but in the last couple of months, finished my really big project, The Vipers in the Ivy. It went super well. I learned a lot, and I got to explore a lot about textiles, particularly in the hand-woven variety. But yeah, so it's time to start a new, larger project. It's not going to be as large as the Vipers in the Ivy. I think I need to wait before I do another year-long project. But I have been wanting to play with like transparency and like kind of gothic vibes for a while, and I want to create like a robe cloak type thing that is made out of sheer organza that will be kind of fun and dramatic. So very editorial. Essentially what I'm doing is a rose window / Tiffany glass stained glass effect on this project. So we'll see. I'm really excited for this, but I'm also like incredibly nervous about this because I'm going to be going into a lot of techniques that I have never ever tried. So one of them is going to be tambour embroidery, or you might know it as luneville. You probably don't know it as ari, which is an Indian embroidery technique that they've mastered over there. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's stunning. There are some really great videos on ari embroidery or tambour embroidery, and I will share some of my resources in the description box because I think they might be helpful if you're interested in this. However, before we get started on any of those techniques, I need to make a pattern. So I've already done my measurements. Fair warning, I've already recorded this intro like 3 times. This is the 3rd time, and it's about a month after I recorded, maybe 3 weeks after I recorded the 2nd time I did this intro. That didn't make sense. Anyways, any whoosies. Yes. I have to make a pattern. So I've already done the skirt portion of the pattern, which is just like the bottom half of the pattern, right? I haven't done the sleeves, the hood, or the bodice yet. I'm still not certain how I want to do it. I think I kind of want to do a built-in like waist cincher, but like make it more masculine. I don't know. I really want to push masculine and feminine things in this motifs in this project. So the top half is going to definitely be a lot more fitted, and then the sleeves I kind of want pretty billowy. So I need to map all of that out later. What I can start doing is work on the skirt portion. So this panel right here is a wedge or a gore, if you will, a very simple skirt pattern for the bottom half of this robe. I've added a little bit of a arch on the bottom to mimic some of that Gothic architecture from Gothic churches that, you know, have those really interesting circular and arch forms. On this panel, I started sketching out a stained glass pattern that is inspired by and reminiscent of Tiffany glass lampshades, I should say. but also pulling together some rose window geometry. From there, I took a picture of it and ported it into my Procreate app, and I created, where is it? Here it is. I traced over some of the lines and then added more lines to create a line drawing of this particular pattern piece. And I've, on the app, on Procreate, I've colored in those specific spots with different colors, and I will likely just use that as my reference when I am cutting out the pieces of colored organza, which I'll talk about a little bit more, I think, in the, I don't know if it'll be this video or in the next video, but I'll definitely be talking about that a little bit. So, what I need to do now, I printed out a life-size scale of that line art. That way I can take pattern pieces from it. So, next thing I need to do is tape this together. And I'm going to go ahead and put you on a time lapse as I do that. I'll cut out the main piece and make sure that it fits roughly to this, and then we can move on. Here we are. We have a finished template. I just realized I might put a PDF version of this on my Patreon, so people can color it in if they want. Yeah, I just thought about that. Anyways, so I have a template here. You can actually see where in my file I accidentally smudged a line through it, so the lines aren't as clear in those areas, but it really doesn't matter. What is going to happen next is some experimentation. So before I actually jump into this project in earnest, I need to check that my idea is going to work. I already tested this out on some tulle, which is more mesh-like, and it worked mostly. The color mixing works, the transparency works, but it didn't have the structural integrity that I wanted for this particular project. The other thing is I want to do, like I said, timbre embroidery, which is a very specific type of embroidery that you use like an embroidery needle, hook needle, and then you punch it through the fabric with some thread, and you can add beads, sequins, whatever that you want on top. It's hard to do that on stacked layers of tulle because the mesh is going every which way. So you're more likely to catch the tulle with your hook as you're pulling it up out of your embroidery work. Now, organza is a woven fabric. So this is some cheap organza from Amazon. I got a big bunch of like party bags of different colors. I don't normally like to buy new stuff, but I don't have any organza in my stash. And I didn't have enough tulle in my stash to really make it worth it. So I have all these colors of bags that I'm going to use as the stained glass pieces. But I want it to be on a base of black organza. And I have a few yards of it here. So this will be the main body of this robe, nightgown, if you will. I don't know what to call it still. So what I'm going to do is create the main piece out of the black, and then underneath, let's see if I can do this while still holding a mic. The color will come through. And because the black is on top, and we can actually do this side by side, do you see the intensity difference between the piece underneath the tulle versus the piece on top of the tulle? I want this to be muted, so I want everything to be below the black layer of tulle. I think it makes it look more luxe, and if there's any colors that don't quite fit their own color scheme, like, or among the color scheme of the other colors, the black should help kind of even everything out. Now, I think I need 11 of these panels, so we'll see if this works. But what I am going to do is I'm going to do a little sampler, probably like of a color wheel or something, and make sure that I have the techniques down, and then I'll move on to the actual pattern itself, where I can start laying things down and placing the colors where I want them and sewing them together, and then I'll be able to flip everything on the other side, so the black layer is the layer that is on the right side of the fabric. So we'll get to that, but first let's do some experimentation, some swatching essentially, and I will see you on the flip side. I have a little swatch here, a little sampler, and I wanted to talk about some initial findings that I've had. Number one is this black organza is a little bit finer than the colorful organza, and that's probably just a quality thing. These are meant to be, you know, throwaway party bags. I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. This has a nice drape to it, and it's actually really nice against the skin, so I'm glad that I'll have that. The other thing I noticed is that the black organza takes chalk pencil really well. It was kind of funny, I dropped this on the table and it left a little imprint, but you can see it better here. I traced over this, and you know, I'm gonna get better at it. It does chew through the pencil, but now what I'm going to do, I flipped it so that this is the right side facing me. I'm gonna lay down a piece of the colorful organza that is as much along the grain with the other piece of fabric. So these are gonna be my background petals. I'm just doing the lotus as a sample. I thought, oh, I could do a color wheel, but honestly, why not do a little sample of the actual project? So all I've done here is I clamped my embroidery hoop to the table. I don't have a proper embroidery clamp or stand, so this will have to do. And I have some black thread. It's just some cotton sewing thread with my needle. And what I'm gonna do is first tie a small little knot here. Actually, there's a technique I learned. We're gonna try it for the first time today on this kind of application. where you do a little slip knot through your work. So I'm actually going to start right here in the center, because we're also going to use this as a way to basically baste our work. Now all of the stitching is going to be covered up by some black ribbon to serve as the leading. So now that I'm at the actual pattern piece proper, I think what I'm going to do is some back stitches. And I'm not pulling tight. There's a reason for that. And that reason is that if I pull too tight, it'll cinch in the organza. And I do not want that. And I realize I think I'm accidentally doing stem stitch right now. But honestly, all I'm trying to do is lock this red organza to the black organza. And also, this is a sampler. So we're still figuring out methods. That's one thing about these projects that I love, is that it gives me a chance to experiment with new techniques, exploring different materials. And I mean new to me, right? I'm sure someone in the world has thought of this kind of thing before. Or maybe I'm the first, who knows? But for me, it's fun to explore these new materials and these new ways for the kind of work I do. I've been very, very pleased with the amount of creative energy I've had recently. I just wish it corresponded with my physical energy and mental energy. Because I have so many ideas of what I want to do. So another thing is I'm making sure that that little bit is flat. So I'm pushing out the top layer against the top bottom layer. So because this whole project is going to be transparent, I want to make sure that all of my stitching is really clean, because you'll be able to see it from the inside or the outside. So even though this stitching will be covered by some black ribbon from the other side, I don't want any straggling threads poking out anywhere. So I really like this method so far. It's just like a stem stitch or a back stitch. I think anything that the thread overlaps to give you a nice solid join between your underlayer and your color layer. I think it's good. And then what I'm going to do is take my applique scissors and cut around, but I want to wait to do that until I have all of these pieces sewn down, because I can be a little bit more efficient with the grain of the fabric. That won't work in all of the places here, but I'm just experimenting. So here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and keep working on this. I'm gonna put you on a time lapse, and I'll see you when I'm done with the red. I have finished the red, and I had a very harrowing moment of trimming it with my applique scissors. These are really good. They got too close. And by they, I mean me. So I actually snipped one of my threads up here. Hopefully it'll be fine. This isn't the final piece, so I don't really need to worry about it. But what I learned with all the pins on the red fabric was, I think, smaller chunks of fabric, so like maybe one motif at a time, because I want to save this fabric. Like, look how much loss there is here. Oof. So that's one concern, is waste. And also, the smaller piece that I have to work on, the better, because I can get better tension on this top layer. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I actually should have done purple first now that I'm thinking about it, but I think in the finished piece it's not gonna matter so much. But we'll find out. What I'm going to do now, so I basted it this time, sorry, I'm all over the place. I basted it, and now I'm gonna do the same process of sewing each motif. And then I'll do these two, and I'll see how it works. I might add the ribbon afterwards as well, just to get a true sense of the finished piece. So I'm just gonna come back when I've done all of that. All right, my desk is absolute chaos right now, but it worked the first time. Look at that. It doesn't show up the same on like different backgrounds. So like on white, it really pops. On black, it's a little bit more moody. So it's gonna be really interesting with what I pair this garment with underneath. But this went very well. This went extremely well. I do think I need to figure something else out with the trimming of stuff, because this one got way too close, and I mean the other ones are holding fine, but that one got way too close and it's already popped out. And then for the leading that goes between panes of glass, I basically used a twisted satin ribbon and just stitched it down, and honestly I'm speechless. I'm speechless. So I'm gonna put that right here. If you think that's gonna be a whole panel, like holy macaroni. So I think what I need to do now is figure out a layout on the fabric so I can put this down and mark out the pattern onto the fabric. And the thing that I learned is, while this was awesome, it was really hard to see after it started rubbing off. So I don't quite know what to do with that there. I thought for a second I could baste all of those lines in, but that would be quite time consuming. The other option that I thought was like a permanent marker. Because it gets covered, it gets fully covered. I'll test it. I'll test it on like a scrap piece, obviously. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think I'm gonna actually end this video here. In the next video, hopefully I'll have started the actual like panels of the bottom portion of this robe, and yeah, we'll start working on lots of stained glass work. So thank you all so much for watching this short video. If you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video a thumbs up. It really helps. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we are narrowly getting in to the end of the year here. So yeah, I'd appreciate that, and I will see you in the next episode. Please let me know what you're excited about for this project, because I am super excited about so many things. So I will see you all in the next one. Bye.